Recording in progress.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Mean Green Nation podcast. Switch it around. Look at that. What? Production. Ladies and gentlemen, your Mean Green, 5-0 on the season. 5-0. 5-0. And no losses. So, we didn't immediately record after the game. I think it's been real silly. With me, as usual, Mr. Aldo. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
Greetings. It's getting dark and gloomy, is what it is.
I mean, just getting dark here in the Middle West. I'm looking at it right there. Got my Mean Green hat on. It looks green in this, and maybe here, but like in this camera, it looks like a bluish. Also, my head's crooked. You are going for the Steve Jobs look. If you're watching on the YouTube, and you see him there. He has all black.
I'm all black for the blackout game.
Again, it's not for like a week and a half. I'm not a big fan of the blackout, but it's because I'm an old alum. I'm very much like, we wear green, we wear white. You can choose those two colors. But whatever. Everybody have fun with it. Wear the black.
A grumpy old man.
Especially if they give you, some black. It's whatever. Just go. It's part of it. You can wear black and then wear a green hat. Be part of it. They're gonna wear black.
The only color in our current repertoire that I don't like is gray. I don't think we've worn it in a while, but no grays for me.
I think some people are like, actually, we do wear black, and if you look at the universities, like, okay, whatever, man. We don't sing "Glory to the Green and White" and also black, and we don't start. It's come on. You know what we're saying. We know what you're saying. Don't be annoying. Ladies and gentlemen, we being the University of North Texas football program, won 36-22 over South Alabama, or South as they like to call themselves. Was it like 10, 15 years they've been in program now, and they're like, you know what? We just want to be called South. Just call us South.
Just South.
And we'll be called
know
North.
What that means.
Once again, North beats South, ladies and gentlemen. 429 yards for the good guys, 234 through the air, 195 on the ground. And that's a big thing again. It's no matter what you try to do, right? We got Seth Luttrell in here, and he was trying to throw the ball around. And by the end of his time here, he was running. He was a running fool, running the ball all the time. Eric Morris, Air Raiden, right? He was a receiver at Texas Tech, at Tech, as I like to call him. And, here he is running the ball. 39 attempts. He only threw the ball 26 times, right? He dialed up a run 39 times. For 195 yards, 5 yards to carry, 4 touchdowns. I mean, again, if that's what you're getting, you do it. Running back, we talked about it with Brandon Bird last week on the show.
Yeah, I mean, you win with what you got, right? And you don't want to force something that's not working. And I'm not saying that the passing game isn't working, but if the run game is just like carrying you and it's beating your opponents down, no reason to be cute and change it up.
No, go do what's winning the game, right? So, in this game, North Texas, first time in a while, first time at home, North Texas goes down. South Alabama drives 75 yards, 10 plays, scores a touchdown in 4 minutes, 20 seconds, right? North Texas answers, 8 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes. And after that is a weak miss, a field goal. And I just want to point out a little I told you so, because the week previous, everybody was saying, I don't know why Eric Morris left points on the board, points on the field. He went for it, and he didn't kick. He could have kicked it against Army. And I was making the point that, I think Callie and Guma is, good, but I think Drew Mestamaker is better, right? And I'd rather Drew Mestamaker and all of those guys, Miles Coleman, Wyatt Young, Cam Dorner, et cetera, than the kicking team, right? Just 1 through 11, I prefer the offense over the kicking team. And again, it's you're going for more points, all right? So just a reminder that these 3 points aren't automatic. We don't have Brandon Aubrey back there, right? Callie Nguma is a solid field goal kicker, but I don't really trust him to kick it a lot. We kick extra points. He's 100% on those, right? Just keep doing that, and we'll be good, guys. We don't really need too much else there.
I don't have too much to say there. I do agree that 7 points is better than 3 points, but sometimes it's situational, right? Where you're trying to keep their off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna make fun of you. That's what it is. They don't have the full context of the Mean Green Nation chat where you've been super pessimistic. You're turning into like an old coach, like we just need to run the ball, kick it, play the kicking game.
We're in black.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but tell the people what you're saying. It's situational
football. Yeah. It's situational football, and you have to play the game that's in front of you. And if you want to force the other team to go score twice, the easiest way to do that would be the field goal, right? I think it's this higher success rate, but
I get what you're saying.
To your point is yes, the trust in Nguma may not be there, at least with you, but maybe even more so with Eric Morris. And he trusts Drew to get the points over Nguma. And so I guess your point wins there. But it's, you kind of wish you had that, like, just shored up.
I mean, everybody
have a guy that can just do 40-yard field goal.
It's crazy in the NFL because like everybody can kick from like 75 yards now, right? So like the range is crazy. And so, but all that aside, going back to South Alabama, they scored 22 points on the day, and I think maybe there was a point, especially like North Texas kind of ended things. South Alabama kind of got it close, or South got it close, and maybe you're thinking, oh no, what's going on with this defense? But I think you look at the overall numbers here, right? 396 total yards allowed. Only 192 yards passing. They ran for 204, but they also ran it 45 times, right? Like it's almost Army-like. Army ran it like 68 times, right? There were 20 less rushes than Army. And they did have the ball a lot. They threw it 35 times and ran it 45 times. So their total plays was 80. We only had 65 plays. So they were running a very sort of North Texas offense. But what does that mean, right? It means that their yards per play was only 5 yards per play, which is not great, like 5, but ours is 6.6, right? We ran 65 plays, and averaged 6.6 yards per play. So you talk about efficiency, we're getting more with less, right? More yards on less plays, more points, right? 36 points against their 22. And we'll talk about the weirdnesses in here because if you're just looking at the numbers, like, wow, 140 yards rushing by our freshman sensation and 78 yards receiving by our freshman sensation. We're the best. Well, yeah, he did a couple of those on like, was it 2nd and 20 or whatever it was? I'm trying to have to look it up again. It's been too many days in between. Yeah, 3rd and 14, he catches that 68-yard touchdown. And then that final touchdown was on 1st and 20. Yeah, it's silly things like that where we were going backwards. So were they. They had 8 penalties, 80 yards. So let me get back to this right here because I think this is important. This is why I like doing this drive thing. After they scored their touchdown, right, 3 plays, 8 yards, punt. 3 plays, 5 yards, punt. 9 plays, 31 yards, interception. 3 plays, 5 yards, punt, right? And then finally to end the half, 7 plays, 20 yards, punt. So 1 touchdown, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 punts and an interception. That's doing your job as a defense, right? I think the difference here is in the first half, North Texas wasn't as efficient offensively. Whereas if you got that same offense that was tearing up, what are they called? The Cougars? Your Cougars there from Washington State.
Cougs.
Yeah, we would have had 35 points by now, and like at halftime, and they're like, okay, this game's done, right? They scored their 7, we scored our 35, the game's over. But instead, it was field goal attempt missed, punt, score another touchdown, great, punt, 3 plays, 1 yard punt, turnover on downs, is what I'm trying to say. So it was not too much better. We were up 14-7 at halftime. A lot of plays were run, 8 plays, 75 yards, 8 plays, 47 yards. Then it's stupid, 7 plays, 3 yards, 4 plays, 35 yards, 3 plays, 1 yard, right? So offense in the first half struggled, and I think you can chalk it up to lots of things. I'm interested in your opinion in that respect. I know that South Alabama came in highly rated against the pass, but they also had a lot of guys injured. What did you see in that first half that tells you, gives you the answer for why we couldn't move the ball?
So I had to watch the game twice. Saturday mornings, my son has baseball games, and so I'm having to be a good dad and encourage him when he's out there. There's also a lot of downtime in baseball. Yeah. Sit down. And so I was kind of watching the game, and then when we got back home, I watched it again. And the benefit of watching a recorded game is you can just skip.
Yeah.
And by doing that, I was able to see that the offense. What I noticed was that the offense just could not get in rhythm. Like between plays, it was clunky. Things weren't happening. So through the series of punts and turnover on downs and things like that, there were some mistakes made, but there was nothing glaring that was a problem to me. It's just we couldn't get in rhythm. And on the other hand, their offense was marching, doing what they in a few drives, but the defense did a great job of not letting them convert. Right, it's that bend don't break, but really, they didn't even bend that much, other than that first 75-yard drive. And I'm still looking at first half stats. After that first 75 yards, I don't think they totaled another 75 yards for the rest of the half. So defense was awesome. Defense was allowing North Texas offense to get back on the field, but our offense just could not get in rhythm, and that's just in the first half. To your point about Caleb and maybe some asterisks to his stats, or not asterisk to his stats, but he was already behind the chains, making some big plays. Yes, there was a lot of flags being thrown in this one. Again, couldn't get in rhythm, and it started affecting both teams. But Caleb took what was given to him, and there are times that whether it's Hawkins, I don't know if I should be going first name basis, Caleb, McGill, and previously Sibley in previous games. But the blocking has been awesome for them, and they've had holes for them to get through. But then they extend plays through breaking tackles and this and that. And McGill, I think, was one of the leaders in the nation on broken tackles. Yeah, and then you saw now that.
Yeah, I don't have those stats in front of me. Sorry, I don't have the stats in front of me. But he did save a lot of things, and we'll get to that in a second. But I think what's interesting to me is that North Texas found themselves in weird spots offensively. What are we doing here? Miscues here and there, that we hadn't seen before. Well, I guess we've seen them different in different ways before, right? We've seen drop passes, we've seen guys not getting open, and then either Mestamaker having to make a play, or just throwing the ball against Western Michigan like we saw him do, or you just get taken a sack. And this one, there's penalties. I think that was a big deal. And it just didn't seem to click. There was a couple times where Mestamaker's dropping back and looking and waiting for something to happen, and he's like, well, there were two penalties in the first quarter against North Texas, 2 for 18. And so it doesn't seem like a lot. Overall in the game, penalties 5 for 41. They were penalized a ton, 8 for 80, and they had some greater miscues. I took a note here. I'm reading it right here. This is from our defensive perspective. We had them in 3rd and 10. We didn't get pressure. They hit Voisin for first down. And then Bishop Davenport scrambled for a first down. And then here's a part where we were bailed out a little bit, where they didn't know the play. They were just they didn't know the snap count, and he's like, oh, let me just try to run. And so if they were executing the offense, I'm like, well, maybe they moved the ball a little bit. And that's a little bit where, hey, the opponent is not as good, and they're not going to take advantage of as much of an advantage of you as say South Florida will, or Navy, or et cetera, right? I don't know that we played a really good team thus far, and that's a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing in that we've had time to grow, also to to make up for any mistakes, right? Neither side of the ball has had to be perfect to win yet, and that's fine. But the curse is that, well, you haven't really been challenged too hard. I think I said everything I said about Army still stands. I think they're a good program. They execute, but again, you have an advantage in like talent, right? Like you just kind of lean on that defensive line. They're just moving them out the way, walking in for a score. So I'm not trying to be inconsistent here. It all makes sense, at least in my head. But
those are good points. You made two good ones. One that reminded me, yes, there were like two or maybe three overthrows that Messamaker had on open guys. So that was frustrating to watch. Something that's been consistent through all his games is that he just waits a little too long. I think he's waiting for the big play. Like you see guys run a mesh, and the guy's like right there. He's 5 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Throw it right there, and then he can do his thing. But I think he's waiting for something farther down, and that's when he's looking down to land the sides and fitting in between four different defenders. Yeah. So he's got that gunslinger mentality that I like, and so this is something that has been consistent all 4 games or 5 games, but it's kind of starting to catch up to him, and it's leading to holding calls. Right, he's holding in it too long, and the line is just trying to keep him clear, and he's not looking for the easy out and things like that. So you're kind of frustrated on doing that, and he's not a good runner. Like he's fast. Give him a straight line, and he'll take some yards. But I'm like, he doesn't know how to take a tackle. He doesn't know how to slide. He doesn't know how to go down. So I'm a little worried there as well.
It does always look like he's being caught. Like he's running. He's like, kind of just falls into the guy.
I don't know. Yeah. Am I supposed to shoot? So I'm a little worried with that. I don't want him to get injured is what I'm saying there. So anyway, teach him to get rid of the ball sooner. I think it'll be better. He had a little bit of the jitters, because we've seen him make these plays where he's putting it where only our guy can get it. So not terribly worried. He's a freshman again. He's learning as he goes. Your other point, what was your other point that you were making about
just pretty much all defense? Of them, but I think.
Yeah, bad teams, right? We're going up against bad teams, and yes, that is true. But in the past, we've seen North Texas not be able to compete against bad teams.
Oh yeah,
and or lose, just flat out lose against bad teams. And we're seeing this team be more disciplined. We're out talenting some of these teams. We're out scheming some of these teams, and we're prepared. And I think that's the difference here. While yes, we are going against bad teams, but we're getting it done against these bad teams when previous North Texas defenses would not have been able to do this.
Yeah, and so like there's no replacement for a playing against a good team, right? Like it just I mentioned this last season. I thought that North Texas played at a different level after getting smoked by Texas Tech. That Texas Tech was ridiculously physical, like the way that they blocked on the edges with their wide receivers, the way that their defense attacked our blocks showed us, I think, the way that like the level of effort, the level of physicality that team needed to be. And I think they responded well next couple weeks where they played a little bit better. And like so you just think about moments from your own life. I was thinking, because I had to coach, you had your kid's baseball game. I had to coach my daughter's soccer team, and like you can tell them to pass it and to do whatever, but it all goes out the window once somebody's trying to take the ball from them, and they're like, so then like that's really what you're training, and you it's good because then you can reference that later on when you're doing some coaching during the week. You're like, you remember you don't have a lot of time, when you're receiving the ball. Think about how they were just closing you down, and like it's more real. It's like visceral, right? You're like, oh yeah, I couldn't even think. I had no time. So you realize the speed at which you need to play. Anyway, so I say all that to just say, I think we could there's a risk that we can get used to playing at a level, and then a different level is required against good teams, right? Because I put this in the Mean Green Nation chat. I was like, the great and terrible thing that happens when you win is that every next game becomes even more big and important, right? Let's play, fantasy here, and let's say North Texas goes undefeated, right? There are going to be calls for North Texas to be in the college football playoff, whether that's deserved or not. And like everybody's like, oh, I could see them matching up against Oklahoma or whatever. Any team that you pick that it's a top 12 team, right, and you match them up with North Texas, I don't feel good about that matchup. Not like North Texas is they're playing well. There's a lot of good things about it, but I just really don't feel like just the talent level, the preparation. Like just last year, this team was very bad, right? And then just like 1 year later to be like, okay, now you got to go play for the national championship. That level is very difficult. And you look at all these other programs, like Oregon's program. They've been building up their program and their team, their coaching staff, and whatever to get to that level. They've been trying to schedule games to mimic the kind of situations that you're going to be in when you're playing like a very well prepared team with deep rosters and all this other stuff. Basically, what I'm saying is that like, I don't think North Texas as a program is ready for any of that. But that's what you get into, right? Like you get to that's the reward for it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good ultimately for the program. Like if North Texas went and got smoked or did any result in a college football playoff for North Texas this year would be good for the program. But for the guys on this team right now, I don't think it's going to end well. And I mean, you can put that as a quote or whatever you want. Well, but like for all those other reasons, I'm saying that just like because what was it? Urban Meyer, I think he said he was, and this might be a lot, but what he was saying, yeah, I went to Ohio State that first year. We went undefeated, but I guess I forget, they didn't make the playoff, right? They were undefeated, and he went to go watch Alabama play in the national championship game, and he said when he watched them play, he's like, okay, we're not good enough. Like we went undefeated or whatever like that, but looking at our guys, we don't practice that way. We don't coach this way. We're not ready to take on that team. So next year we need to change our recruiting thing. We need to get better. There's a lot of things. We're just not ready for this level yet. And so,
yeah,
go ahead.
I think it's a fair
continue.
It's a fair point, but where I disagree, like in your hypothetical, right? We've gone undefeated. That means we've been able to go against anybody that may be good in our schedule that's left, and South Florida is one of those. And then whoever is the opponent in the championship game, the conference championship game. So there is a level of talent and grit and maturity that we've reached at that point. While we may not compete in the conference football playoffs or whatever,
college football playoff,
college. Thank you. And
conference football.
There's a lot of words, a lot of acronyms to work through.
I like it.
I don't think. I mean, Boise State, right? You can look at Boise State. I'm trying to compare it with other G5, G6 programs. We churned over 75 people on our roster, I think. Yeah. And it points more to the level of coaching that we've leveled up on the defensive side, especially that we've brought in all these guys to replace that experience that we didn't have, that we lost, and quickly turn it around. Yes, against bad teams, again, that is the caveat. But nonetheless, we've been able to come together in just a few months and build this team that can compete. We may not be able to get out of a round one of a playoff game, but I mean, that's a tall order, right? But I'm not worried about that. I want to be the American Conference championship.
I only bring that up because I don't think we disagree too much. But what I'm saying is that like that's like the extreme end, right? Like of positivity there, like winning all those games. Because if you win, let's say you win a game against in the first round, you're only going to play better, deeper teams, right? It's like, hey, this one has like 10 NFL dudes. The next one's going to have 22. And then the one after that is going to have, it just gets tougher, right? And that's my point is that like even Boise State last year with like, the best running back in college football that we've seen in, 10 years, they got smoked. Yeah. They got handled, right? Cause, and that's the thing is that like there's pressure coming at you from all angles, right? Where like say South Alabama puts pressure on you in a few ways, right? But then they're going to not pressure you in a lot of ways. the very best teams in the nation put pressure on you in every way possible, right? Their kicker is going to the NFL. The deep snapper is the best one. Their punter is the best one you've seen. We got pinned back by Western Michigan's punter. Texas, Ohio State, whoever else is going to be there, they have a better punter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just goes on and on that way. And so, again, like I said, that's the extreme end. I'm not really looking at that. My goals for this team, like, I think are realistic things to target where you can win the American, right? And I think the top of this league, Memphis, Navy, you want the talent out there like UTSA along the defensive line. I think they're tough there. I think they're kind of incomplete as a team, but I think they have a very talented defensive line. And then it's sort of, it makes USF, they're talented a lot. They took our one of our best linebackers last year. USF's talented. They just got a lot of dudes who can run. And then everywhere else is like sort of a mixed bag, right? It kind of depends on what, the day, the coaching, the situation. And whatever. Can you beat those teams? Yes. Can you beat Navy or Memphis? Yeah. Last year Memphis was more talented than North Texas, and North Texas went toe to toe with them, put up 600 yards against them, whatever it was, in their house.
2 years in a row, I think.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that like in the American, it's very doable. But I also say our conference champ got smoked up by Notre Dame, right? Army, they got. Yeah. So I'm saying, there's a level there where Army handled us in our house, and then they went to Notre Dame and they got smoked, right? And then they got beat by Navy. Whatever. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, as a group of 5, group of 6 program, we'll never have a star player that will be here 3 or 4 years, right? Because they're going to get paid and go somewhere else. But so is every other college G5 team.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have the same exact problems they are, unless they are a place with money. And I'm thinking like Memphis, Tulane, those kinds of schools have that kind of money. We don't. Not to pick on Wisłowski, but he's having a fantastic year, right? Banner year. He's a senior, but there's been issues throughout the year. We've talked about it on the show that he's had issues with vision, picking the wrong gap, this and that. And this whole time, the talent was there. It was the coaching and maybe the scheme that wasn't the right fit. And now he's blowing up. He's excellent. He's doing tackles for loss. So I think the coaching matters. And when we bring guys that complement each other and complement your scheme, and then you coach them to do the right thing and be smarter on the field, it makes us better than the other team. And with a shorter amount of effort, smaller amount of effort, I guess, week to week, when the disparity is pretty clear. South Florida will probably be the first test. I think it's a toss-up game between the two, and we don't really know what we've got in South Florida, in my opinion, based on ourselves, based on how we've played, and that's more to your point, right? All the teams that we've played have been lesser teams. This is going to be the one where we get punched in the mouth and have to figure out how to react after that first punch. Yeah. But one thing I want to point out, well, before I move on to South Florida, do you have any other?
Yeah. So I mean, we'll get to that. I'll say this, because I have the South Florida stuff pulled up here. Just to complete, because everybody's like, "What are you talking about, Adam?" The thing is that, I think that North Texas is in a great position, right? We are we want all the shine. I'd like to get ranked. I think that's very possible, just to end that streak of not been in the top 25 in 30 years, whatever it is. I think we can steal a ranking, be ranked in the top 25. And like I said before, I think Marshall did this in Conference USA a few years ago, where they played a weak schedule, but they were undefeated for a while, and they got a lot of hype. You need that, right? You can steal that. There are ways to organize your program and your schedule so that way you can. Sometimes you just got to get lucky, but there are ways to take advantage of that luck, right? Make sure you have a good enough team to take advantage of these kinds of things, and then you can be in that program. I think, given the way that college football is and all this other stuff where all the talent and all the money flows to the top, fine. I don't care about that. I think what you have to do to build a program over the long term is make sure you're getting something out of every season, right? Like, if we lose Eric Morris, if we lose Maker and whoever else, everybody's like very negative about this whole thing. Lovely wife brought to the show. A little tastes good,
Very nice. Refreshing.
There we go, powered up. Is that you have to take something from it. You got to take a little bit more commitment, right? You have to increase the attendance a little bit. You have to sound real old now. You have to add a new page to the brochure so that way you can, sell the next kid, the next coach, to whatever, you can win here. I think North Texas has done that in the last 10 years, right? What are we, 2025? In the last 10 years, we've improved, right? We had won a bowl game. Seth Luttrell raised the profile here. I don't know that Eric Morris looks at North Texas the same way. The same Eric Morris looks at North Texas the same way if Seth Luttrell hadn't raised it up a little bit, if he hadn't put some offense up, if he hadn't brought some talent in. I think Seth Luttrell did a lot of good for the program. Now it's Eric Morris's turn to do good for the program. And I think this is his season. He's raising the profile. You're winning, right? Seth Luttrell beat Arkansas. You gotta, we talked about this before. You gotta steal a win against a P4 team, P5 team, a name team. You have to have a season where you're competing. I say this all the time. It's like every 2 or 3 seasons, you need to compete for a title. Why? To get people interested, because it's real easy to they're terrible. They suck, right? You start.
Yeah, I hear it a lot. Yeah. Why would I want to go to watch us lose?
Yeah, even if you're like, hey, they're good this year, and you can remember, they're good every couple of years, and that's fun. For a lot of casuals, that's fine. It's kind of hard to be like, oh man, every year I got to go and paint my face and whatever. If you're just a casual, it's not as fun. But hey, yeah, every so year, it's a good time. They're good every couple of years. This year maybe not so good. Okay, fine. We'll go to a game. We'll go to 1 or 2 game. Hey, when they're good, it's real fun. We'll go to a few of them. We'll go to a big one. That's real fun.
Give them a good reason to spend 4 or 5 hours out of the day to drive to a parking lot that is a choke point in the area, and it's a pain in the butt. It takes 30 minutes to get out. Give them a reason to have to deal with that to be at the stadium, right? With events and a blackout game or free hot dog night or whatever, right? Kind of like with minor league baseball teams and minor league basketball teams do in the area. Give them a reason to go there, and then also, hey, there's a football game. That part's pretty fun too, right? Let's put up a whole bunch of points, and watching the TV and seeing the stadium so empty was really disappointing, because we're 4-0. You feel, at least on Twitter, you're like, oh yeah, there's excitement all over the internet about North Texas. People are paying attention to us. People are tweeting about us. Fans are tweeting about it, and then you see on the broadcast that they're not there. They're tweeting about it, but they're not there. Is super heartbreaking.
Yeah. So to me, I'll give my HSO on why that is. I think, one, it's at 11 a.m. and I think a lot of people, it all ties together. A lot of people that remember some great times in North Texas were students or just graduated right when North Texas was, it was like 10 years ago, right? 10 years, now everybody's like 35, 40, you know what I mean? If you're like right there, like early 30, you're in a different stage of life. You need everybody else. What happened in that middle 10 years? Not a whole lot. Not a conference championship win, no bowl wins, and in fact, and I say this all the time, those bowl losses were some of the worst, were the worst in history, right? If you look at the worst loss in the Frisco Bowl, that old Frisco Classic, right? Grandpa used to take me to that game.
Growing up.
Yeah, that one. Worst loss in history, North Texas, right? One of the worst losses in New Orleans Bowl history, North Texas, right? So you really tamp down, and you're, like I know everybody's like, oh, you gotta believe. Yes, you do, but also these people are just people, right? Like, what if every time you go to a movie, it's the worst movie you've ever seen? You're just like, I don't know, man.
People like that.
The popcorn was good, but I don't know. It's not that great.
Yeah, but if the tickets were free, whatever.
Yeah, I'm saying, free tickets to a terrible movie. That's, again, you're thinking about the casuals. The diehards are there. So all those people that were there at the Cotton Bowl, and then the year after, we talked about it this week, we can just say, man, that Halloween night game against Rice, that was great. That hit sixth season, that was great. Everybody was there that was a student. They're grown up, right? They either have kids or something like that. So if you want to get them back, they're happy to go back. But they probably got to coach baseball at 10, at 11. I had to coach soccer, like they're getting away. And so that middle gap there, who does have free time? People without no kids. They weren't as excited because they went to the Frisco Bowl, and then they were like, that wasn't fun, man.
Yeah, and there are. I like to think about them as generations of fans where they get hooked and they're chasing that dream again. Like for me and you, it was the Daryl Dickey era, the string of championships and bowl games, and then Todd Dodge was the dark ages. We got no fans out of that, but then the McCarney Heart of Dallas Bowl wins, and then a few years of the Littrell era. Those are the folks that come back. Those are the diehards that keep coming back. That were created from those generations, but then we can't capture anybody in between. So I see what you're saying, that you need people to want to come and watch a fun football game, and I feel like we're doing that this year, right? Putting a whole bunch of stats, and also not allowing a lot of points.
So you remember this, right? Like, because you grew up in Austin, right? Pre Mac Brown, they were trying to get people to stay at the stadium. It was like, show up early, wear orange, be loud, right? Like, they kept saying that to people because they couldn't get anybody to a Texas game because they were not good. They lost. This is talking about the '90s. They lost like 66-3 to UCLA. They got like smoked. And then you're just like, this program sucks, right? It took a lot of investment, a lot of time, and a lot of winning before anybody started showing up. Then they expanded the stadium because people care. People are showing up. Like, you got a very good team now. It's a lot easier to get people there. You need to win. Yes, you need to win, and it's a circle. That's what I'm saying. You got to take advantage of this. In this moment, you win 5 games, 5-0. You're making fans right now. That's great. Everybody's going, whatever. That 11 o'clock game, that's not going to help you, but that's just a lost cause. You're not really going to do anything with that. You just gotta eat it. What matters is that Friday game. That one's you can sell that one.
Yeah, and I think they're doing a better job with that Friday night game. Yes, it's during high school football games, and I think the difference that I'm seeing online is that there was, and not just online for last week's South Alabama game, but previous years, is there's not a lot of advertising and not a lot of energy being generated out of the athletic department to get people in.
Yeah.
And I've said this on Twitter too, is like, when I was an adjunct, Department of Geography, right? People are honed in on academia, and they're like, oh, we have a football team. When I try to get them hyped up about football, and I would try to do this and that to just get them interested in going to a game. It's free for you guys. Just go. Like, it's part of the college experience. And
I think they should charge everybody $5. I think that's what they should do.
Okay, like with people not going anyway.
Yeah, might as well take the $5 off the people that are going. At least you pay and get some money. They'll stay. They're like, hey,
their tuition.
I paid $5. I'm gonna make this game. But go ahead.
So I shouldn't be the one pulling all that weight, right? We should have the athletic department going into these classes, go into the 101 with classes with the stadium seating in the Lyceum or whatever it's called now, with cheerleaders, and try to get them excited about the football game on a Friday. And the classes have been canceled afternoon on that day, so finally we're seeing the academic side get involved with that announcement, right? Classes are canceled afternoon.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful that they do that as well. They're going into the classrooms, talking to the professors, getting them excited about that. Maybe give them free tickets for them and then somebody else. Get that momentum going, so it's not just pulling teeth at the same 5 donors every year, and then the 50 crazy fanatics online to them, and put it on them to bring 50 people. Like, yeah, that's awesome, but the athletic department needs to be more engaged with the students, with the academia, to fill up the stadium, because it can be tiring. Like, it was a far cry between that 11 a.m. game and the previous one, which was 26,000 against Wazoo.
Yeah.
And I've been there in down years where we can still have 20 to 22,000 people in the stadium. And we know we're going to lose, but they're still there. Anyway,
it's back to back. Like Wazoo will bring people. It brings a lot of Washington State fans. Washington State has a big fan base. They had a chunk there. South Alabama, they're like less than 2 decades old or whatever it is. They don't have a lot of cachet. It's hard to sell them. You need people. Like one underrated thing about the biggest games in North Texas history, right? The sellouts. Is that we played Houston, big rabid fan base. They'll go there and they'll start yelling like, "Whose house? Coug's house," right? They'll do that. La Tech, they travel. They're everywhere. That's a short drive away. UTEP, that was a big one. It's like top 10 or whatever that was. It was like with the largest crowd for a while in 2013. They had a big fan base in Dallas Fort Worth. They were excited to see UTEPians. The miners there in UTSA coming up, and I think Texas State when they come up, they're gonna fill it up. Like, yeah, again, it's why you need nearby programs because they help fill up your state. Their money spends just as well, right? It doesn't have to always be us.
Yeah, I agree with that. That the conference matters too, and if you're not playing against like Tulane and Memphis will bring people, but somebody like South Alabama will not bring as many fans. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, and just like even going to like the NBA, right? Yeah, like in San Antonio where I lived for a long time, it was easy to go get a ticket against the Wizards. Nobody cares about the Wizards. They're terrible. Like, you're just like, all right, well, like if someone was giving away tickets, I was like, wait, is it against the Clippers? Right? Again, back when the Clippers were very terrible, Yeah, and you're like, I guess I'll go. I mean, you get to go to an NBA game, but it's not great. Chicago Bulls come in town, the Lakers, now the Warriors, like good teams. It's hard to get a ticket. Suddenly people are like, hey, you want to go hang out later? No, I'm going to the game. I'm not going to be. I didn't even know you liked the Spurs. Like, oh, well, it's going to be Steph Curry there. So it's different, right? So it's same thing. Like it's hard to sell a ticket for South Alabama, here in DFW. It's even hard to sell it against USF. They're a relatively young program. They're only 20-something years old. I think there was 2003, it was like their first year or something like that. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for South Florida to sell to Charlotte because Charlotte's coming to town. They're going to be there 7 p.m. Raymond James Stadium, 65,000 seats in Tampa, Florida. And they got a tough sell. Like, come on, watch Charlotte. Who, like the Panthers? No, they're a football team. Oh, it's like FCS. No, they're in our conference. And they're like, what? Who's Charlotte? I haven't seen Charlotte. You mean Bill Belichick? No, they're going to be doing all of that. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
And it reflects too on the viewership too. South Alabama versus North Texas got 50,000 viewers, and I think Memphis versus FAU got 150,000 viewers. So that's a huge difference there on wanting to go see.
Even today, Memphis. Right? I'm a soccer fan, and there's Champions League football on today, and there was an option for me. It was PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. They won the Club World Cup here in the United States, and Donald Trump has the original trophy, and they gave them a replica. Or they didn't win it. They competed in the final against Chelsea. But they won the Champions League last year. So big name team. They're playing Barcelona, right? That's one matchup. And over there is Arsenal, another big team, and they're playing Olympiacos. Who's Olympiacos? If you're not a big soccer fan, you're like, I don't. I was watching.
I'll go with Greece.
It is Greece, but I was watching Barcelona and PSG. I was not watching Arsenal and Olympiacos. I like Arsenal. I like watching Arsenal. I'm a fan of Arsenal. But I was like, they're just playing Olympiacos. I watched the highlights. I'm going to watch PSG and Barcelona. That's just how it works. Everybody likes a compelling matchup. So I don't think that's, that if, don't make too much of it is my point, right? That North Texas is not the only thing carrying the thing. Some of it is the matchup. So people watching it on TV, people going to the games. It's 11 a.m. There are a lot of things working against North Texas as far as attendance was concerned.
And I guess in my mind, like I was thinking that we could carry with being 4-0, being North Texas, getting that excitement drummed up. North Texas name brand alone for local alums could at least get 20,000 people in the stadium. But
at 11 a.m., that's tough. It's tough at 11 a.m. Yeah, because then you're thinking
9 o'clock for me.
It's basically 2 hours that you got to get there before. Like, you got to start thinking about getting there, driving, parking, all the other stuff. And you're like, that means at 9 a.m. I got to be ready to go to do this thing. And again, if you have commitment. If you're Sans children, Sans whatever, it's easy. If you've done it on the regular, it's easy. If you haven't been out there in a while, you're like, I don't know. We'll watch that TV. We'll go next week. Even like we had 2 guests last week, and they're like, yeah, I'm thinking about going to that USF game. I want to get there. I want to do this other one. I might go to it. Which they're picking one in their head. The one that doesn't make sense, 11 a.m. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense for anybody. So I don't think that it's reflective, because I think the hack writer on the Dave Campbell's whatever, he was like, oh, I don't know, North Texas. Shut up, dude. Like this. It's the same way, like every program, like San Antonio's a bigger city, right? It's 2 million people there. They have to try to get people into the dome. Nobody cares about the no-name programs. The fans are like, we want to see real programs. It's hard to get people in there. They're settling in around like 25,000 people out of a 1 million plus population, right? It's real easy to get downtown. It's real easy to go to a game. Tickets are cheap. People don't really want to go. Why? Because it's kind of a commitment. Put that at 11 a.m. They're like, ugh. What? I don't want to do that. It happens everywhere. South Florida plays Charlotte this week, and Friday. I think that's a little bit of an advantage for them. They get to see what it's like to have a Friday game week. However, they're at home, so it's a little different for them. They're going to have to go on the road. But they will have practice this Friday week here. I don't know. What do you think about that? Let me go back. There's a stat I want to read. South Florida Friday games. They're 12-19, and they last won in 2024. We lost our last Friday game against UTSA on the road.
What are my thoughts on what part of it?
Any of that, man. Like, what do you think of that Friday night game?
I don't know. The Big Friday, I don't think will matter too much. It's home field advantage, which I like. I like. I wouldn't want to travel somewhere to play on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And so I like that advantage. Again, I think it's a toss-up game to the analytics and the bettors. What I found interesting is that so far through 5 games, North Texas has had 225 rush attempts against us, while South Florida has had 145. Huge differential there, even if I don't know how many games that South Florida's played.
We'll go through the schedule real quick, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about them next week when we do the show. But they beat Boise State. That was the big one, right? To start the season. They played on Thursday. That's a little different because, it's like the opening week, so it's not like you played and then you have to play again. Played Thursday against Boise State, top 25 Boise State. They beat them 34-7. Kind of handled them. Big coming out party for the QB. And then they go to Florida, a terrible Florida, but they went to Florida and they won 18-60, right? In front of 89,000 people. So they're not going to be intimidated, even if we pack the house, dude. Every one of these games, the attendance has been larger. 34,000 for the first game, 89,000 for the second game, and then 67,000 roughly where they got whooped up by Miami at Miami. Then they were home last week against South Carolina State. They won that game. I forget the final score there. And then this one, they play Charlotte at home, 7 p.m. Terrible.
So I feel okay. Again, I don't know what to make of North Texas with their opponents, but I do know that South Florida allows high passer ratings. They haven't seen a Russian attack like ours. I think we surprised them, and we've got a little bit of an advantage, both in terms of our offense and the home field, and our defense may be able to hold it together. Before, I don't know if you're asking me if we're going to lose or not, but before the show, I would have told you loss, but right now I'm hyping myself up, thinking that we can pull this out. It's just going to, if we fall flat again, if we can't get in a rhythm again.
I'm not going to ask for your prediction right now because we got to see them this Friday, right?
Okay.
We're going to go 1-0 against the bye week, which is great. We're gonna
stay undefeated.
Yeah, we're gonna dominate. Here's the thing: like nobody get arrested, nobody do anything stupid, because you can lose the bye week. If any of that happens, if you don't do the right things, if you take care of business and rest and prepare, then you can win the bye week. That's good. I did leave some things here open because I just saw it right now on my note. I'd like to see us not need Caleb Hawkins to bail us out. Right, like he's great. Let's have him be a plus. Right, let's not have him be a bailout. And again, it was like second and 14, third and 14, sort of a give up play. Just throw a little screen and just kind of see what we can get. And then he takes it to the house. That's good. And I think one time, a friend of the show, Greg, was like, "What are you talking about?" Because I was like, I don't like needing home runs. I want to be able to hit singles, right? I want to be able to move the ball down the field and have a 12-play drive and score. And he's like, "What? If you're getting one-play drives, isn't that good?" Yes, it is good. But sometimes you need to go down the field, right? Like if it's like, and I think the last couple of years it's been that way. 1-play touchdown and then a 3 and out. Yeah, 2 plays touchdown and then a 3 and out. Like it's.
Yeah, and I think what you're trying to say is that you don't want it to have to get bailed out. That you want a team with the ability to grind it out on their own terms. Having that home run ability is nice.
Yes, it's great. Yes, you also. I'd like that. I'd like both things, please. I'd like the burger and the fries. Yeah, I don't want just like and that's the thing. I think this team has that. I think South Alabama messed some things up. Like I said, there was 8 plays, 75 yards the first drive. I thought that was good. There was some self-harm in this, and I think the two things, so there was a 2 plays, 64 yards touchdown. This was after a punt, turnover on downs, and then a fumble. Right, that was terrible by Dalton Cars. But that one had 7 plays, 39 yards. We were moving the ball. 2 plays, 64 yards. We score. What I like here: 7 plays, 47 yards, 3 minutes, 43 second time possession. Then a 3 and out. Then another 7 plays, 75 yards, 4-minute drive. Those are good. So I feel good about that. I don't think we always need a 12-play one. I think sometimes like 12, 13 plays, like playing like Army, I think that's evidence that you're not really efficient. It needs to be like 7, 8 plays. I think that tells you everything you need. Like you can complete a pass and turn it 15 yards. Like you can get a 15-yard play. That's in your arsenal. That's good. But if you're like, so I'm looking over here at South Alabama. 12 plays, 75 yards, 15 plays, 41 yards, 10 plays, 87. It's like those are like you're just kind of struggling, or you just have to go for it, and you're just kind of getting lucky. That's what that indicates to me. You're not being efficient with your offense. I like 7, 8 play drives. That's good for us. You get too many 12, 13, 16 play. I think that one time we had 20 plays or something like that on a drive last year or something like that. It was ridiculous. That's like, all right, we're just going backwards and forwards and just running plays for no reason. You don't need that. I don't need 3 fourth down conversions on this drive. Just it's good. So this team, this week, we weren't super efficient. 4 out of 13 on thirds, 2 out of 3 on fourth. I'd like to see that increase, right? Like, obviously, that's not normal for this team, and I don't feel like that's something to concern ourselves with. But I think we were just heavily reliant on one guy. It's great to have one guy. You and I talked about this last week. It was great to have Jeff Wilson, because sometimes you could just say, go make a play for us. He'd turn a 1-yard loss into a 5-yard gain, and enough of those wins you a game. Caleb Hawkins, he turned what should have been a 5-yard gain into a 20-yard touchdown, right? 27-yard touchdown or something. Or what should have been a 8-yard play on a screen into a 68-yard touchdown. So
yeah, through natural ability, right? Breaking tackles, staying balanced and not falling down. I'm like, he is a running back that I would have loved to have for several years, and he's showing lots of maturity and experience as a freshman. So pretty exciting there.
Isn't it crazy? Like, because we talked about him, I think, in the recruiting show. We were like, yeah, we got a big guy. He's probably one for the future. I like his size. He's like 200.
And he brought a lot of a volume of stats too in high school.
Yeah, like I said, I was excited about it. I thought we'd see a little bit of him in short yardage this year, like a sprinkling of them. I thought he'd get, like 3 carries, 20 yards or something like that. That was going to be like his thing. Or like, man, he got that crucial run. He's pretty good. I like the way he runs. I didn't see him getting 16 carries, 140 yards, 2 scores. Or I mean, I don't want to hype anything. But go. You say what you're going to say, and then I'll say me.
When you have a guy like that, right? When you start as a freshman running back, there's 2 reasons. The rest of the guys suck, or he's a superstar and you can't keep him off the field. And the rest of the guys do not suck. McGill, full confidence in his ability. Again, one of the leading guys in the nation breaking tackles. It's just Hawkins brings things to another level in his vision, his breaking tackle ability, his balance and agility is all there, and you just can't keep him balling.
Yeah, like Sibley, who would be playing, but for the fact that he got hurt, he was taking those screens. He was bailing us out. I would have the same conversation because against Western Michigan, he took a couple. Like there was a draw play, sort of a give up play on third down. He gets a first down. A little screen pass to him again. He gets a first down. He was doing those kinds of things for us, right? Like just turning nothing plays.
He's fast.
Yeah. But now that's Hawkins, so that tells you like, hey, we got two guys that could do it, right? We didn't necessarily know that. But what I was gonna say is that it reminds me. I don't want to hype anything. It reminds me of Lance Dunbar in that way. It was. Because it was like, what's his name, Montgomery or something like that. I forget his name. That was our starting running back. And then just like suddenly, like third string guy comes in to hand him the ball, 80-yard touchdown. I'm like, oh, that was great. Maybe just the circumstances. Just all right. Well, then the next, game, then he has like two of those. And you're like, this guy,
Right,
this guy's pretty good.
Keep
Yeah.
him up anymore.
Yeah, just keep giving him the ball. So like I feel like that way with Hawkins. Like I don't think we need to give him 34 carries a game. Because I think we kind of know that you don't need that as for a running back. That's tough. But 16 to 20 touches, I think that's pretty solid, right? I like that.
Yeah, or even like 10 to 15. Keep these guys healthy, rotating. As long as all three of them, let's say Sibley's healthy again, as long as all three of them can stay healthy and efficient, 10 to 15 carries would be a good spot if we're winning games. Like if we need emergency, like Hawkins superstar home run, we need you to bail us out. Then sure, give him some more carries, but I want to see 10 to 15 from him, just to keep that load off. It's gonna be a long season.
All right, I just want to read two things. I totally agree with you. Two things from the league. One, like this past week, the Offensive Player of the Week was Greg DeRozier's Jr. Was he? He's a junior. He is a senior, but he's a junior. Running back from Memphis, he ran for 204 yards, right? They are also 5-0, is Memphis. Nobody cares about them, though, right? Honorable mention was our own Caleb Hawkins, and his 2 touchdowns on the ground, 1 through the air, 68-yard score, 140 yards on the ground. He already won Offensive Player of the Week, right? Last week, September 22nd. That one. There's that one. Then here's some numbers from the league again about our non-conference winning percentage. 65.2% is the American winning percentage. The SEC was clear winner, 43-6, 87%. Then it's a Big 10, Big 12, ACC, and then American. Then it's a Mountain West, Sun Belt, Conference USA, MAC, Pac-12, 3-7. Memphis, by the way, has won 9 in a row. They're 5-0 this year. They have the longest win streak in the nation, just beating Missouri. So, there you go. Some other things about us. We're 13-0 under Eric Morris when leading after 3 quarters. We scored at least 30 points in all 5 games this season. What else am I saying? Drew Mestermaker and Temple QB Evan Simon are 2 of 4 FBS players with at least 10 TD passes without an interception. Drew Mestermaker, Mesty, 11-0, right? 11 for the good, 0 for the bad. Ty Simpson has 11-0. Also, Luke Altmaier from Illinois, 11-0. Evan Simon from Temple. They're throwing the ball around. Is Temple 10 touchdowns, no interception. So,
few yards, I want to say.
Yeah. Like I said, I think that Drew Mestermaker has a lot of football in front of him, and this is his 6th start, right? The 5 wins and the other one, like his total TD interception ratio is ridiculous. This was his worst game by completion percentage. He had 54%. I think this 2 weeks is going to be especially good for him, right? Because I think it's kind of just been happening. He's been on TV, he's been talking, everybody's praising him, and now he gets to just kind of reset and kind of get back to basics. So I feel good about his progression the rest of the season.
Yeah, keep that Cinderella story alive. Work on the small things. Like he is just naturally talented, and pass the ball faster, Drew. Make a decision, rip it.
Just drop it in there. Go work on those drills where they drop it in the bucket so that you can throw it to Miles Coleman, so that way we can get touchdowns. And then we don't have to argue on the internet about like kicking field goals versus whatever. Just throw the ball, throw touchdowns, and we're like, see, there he goes. His 7th touchdown of the quarter.
Problem solved. Throw more touchdowns, win more games.
Yeah, and then everybody go to the game, right? That's the other thing. Sorry, my wife is asking me for a cord. Yeah, she always makes fun of me. My wife does. about having cords and wires around. But now that she needs a cord in or wire, now suddenly, can you help us find the HDMI? No, I can't. Because you made fun of me. I'll find it for him.
But yeah, go to the game, people. I mean, I'm 2,000 miles away, so I can't always go. But those of you who are just 5 miles away, go to the dang game.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta want it. It is fun, and like I said, I think the university, the program, the athletic department, like I said, I think they gotta win something every year, right? Like take a little bit, make some new fans, do this, do that. You also have to invest some of that in not only just the players. I know you got to give them all kinds of money now, but you have to make the fan experience a little bit better. And at least for me, and people like me, I think that sitting in the stadium has to be more comfortable than, like I don't really need somebody playing a little concert outside and then do anything for me. I don't want to see that. I don't really need, yet another bouncy house. What I need is a comfortable chair. And you're like, well, you can buy one. I don't feel like doing that either. You can bring your own. I don't want to do that either, right? I want it to be comfortable in the seat that I purchased for 3 hours, Like you said.
Yeah, and
you're competing with my sofa, Yeah. Spend a couple thousand on that sofa and it's real comfy, you know what I mean? It also conforms to my shape now,
I think they should start sending buses into the neighborhood, like right next to Apogee, and being like, "Hey, jump on in, and we'll take you to a football game." And
all
then
those
we'll
people hate Apogee, right? They're like, "Oh, I'm trying to go to Piggly Wiggly." I don't know. I can't even think of the grocery store anymore. I'm trying to go Walmart,
Safeway.
Yeah, trying to go to Safeway, and you doggone, UNTs over here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the show. Again, sorry we didn't do it right after. Like we were both tired from being great fathers. Ugh.
A little tired.
Yeah. Jeez. Raising up the next generation. They're paying your Social Security. So,
But I feel like they're raising us.
Yeah, so we just kind of, that's why we paused it a little bit. Also just give us a break. We need a little break. We'll pick it back up. I don't know exactly when we're going to do it on this weekend coming up after the bye. We'll figure out a time. We'll talk about it. We'll huddle. Right? I'll sit in the signals. When we signal how we're going to do it, we do it the same way. We have 3 other guys. I'm like, let's do it at 7 o'clock. And then those other guys are like 8 o'clock. And the other guy's like 10. We don't want anybody stealing our time. Yeah. 10. Oh, it's be this way, right? Yeah. So we do that, Which one's live? You don't know. No one's going to steal the signals.
But 5-0.
5-0. It's great to be 5. Don't be like Aldo. Not this Aldo, but a different Aldo that was on the internet. It's like, oh, I'm getting real pessimistic. Don't be like that. Enjoy the bye week. When we get closer, then you could be like, oh, I'm nervous. They're good. They're so good. Did you see what they did to Charlotte? Then you could do like that. But right now.
Ask me Sunday.
You just enjoy it. Right now, we're gonna be 5-0 for 7 more days. 8 more days. It's a lot of days. Don't worry about it. That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Go Mean Green.
Go Mean Green.
Recording stopped.